Well, greetings, everybody, and welcome yet again to an edition of the show we know as the Inworld Review. This is a program where we look at arts, destinations, and indeed the people on the Hypergrid. The Hypergrid being a system that connects all the virtual worlds that are built with open simulator software are actually connected together in terms of communication and being able to teleport between them. And all this interoperability is courtesy of the Hypergrid, which is an official extension to the Open Simulator software. And if you're in a 3D world elsewhere, more for you. You're probably behind a walled garden and can't get out. Whereas here, you can jump wherever you want to jump. So, long live Hypergrid. Now, once a week, we have an event called Hypergrid Safari, run by my colleague Thirza here. And my other colleague James, introducing him in a minute, is also usually on the safari, as is our guest tonight. And the reason for this show is that we've just had the last safari of the season. We had from the 1st of September right through to now, and there will be a new season in the brand new year. But as is a sort of traditional at the end of a safari season, we look back on the whole season and celebrate what we did, especially the best bits. Although that can cause an argument, of course, because everybody's got a different best bit, haven't they? Anyway, let's introduce who we got here today. My name is Mal Burns, as if you didn't know. One of the interesting things you'll see in the pictures on this show is the morphing of my avatar appearance in the early ones and the later ones. He's suddenly different, but not too different, I'm glad to say. Next to me on my right, so I've got our technical wizard here, producer, sound, audio, video, fiddler, loves sitting, loves fiddling with knobs as well, is none other than James Atloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, hi, Mel. It's great to be here. I always enjoy doing the program.
Lovely. And, of course, as I just mentioned, the Queen of Hypergrid Safari, or something like that. But my wonderful co-host these days on this show, and that's Thirza Ember. Welcome, Thirza.
Thank you. More of a sweeper upper than a queen, but
Oh, I
glad
don't
to
know
be
about
here.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do sweep up the things that haven't been
Mm.
done. Very good, you are. Okay, and our guest this week, she's been on the program before, and it's by sheer coincidence we had visited a sort of demo by her on the last safari, which was this past Wednesday. Her name is Nara Nook. I always think of her from Nara's Nook. It does actually exist, by the way. The grid actually called Nara's Nook, or has that been overtaken by your other things?
No, it's still called Nora's Nook, I think.
Yeah, and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
World Nara's Nook is your tag. Okay, so yeah, so everybody, welcome Nara Nook.
Yay.
Thank you,
I
Nara.
know.
It's great to be here. Right now,
One day we'll discover why Mal pronounces it Nook and not Nook. We're very curious to know that.
um, I see. So I'm now on the hook for not calling it Nook and calling it Nook, which yes, that is true.
Well, no, it's very cute, but it's
It's a Nook, isn't it?
it's it's
Okay,
going to be one of those shows, isn't it?
enough distraction. We don't want to talk about my colossal, impossible voice at the moment. Right. So before we get into Safari, the retro, basically, the roundup of, well, so it's something like 12 weeks worth, isn't it? Then Thursday is going to do her normal bit, which is basically to tell you about the stuff coming up this coming week. Not including Safari, sadly, but it's only a few more weeks and we'll be back. So, yeah, over to Thursday for the Hypergrid happenings.
Yeah, here we are once again with our Hypergrid happenings. As Mal said, there's no Safari this week, but there's loads of other things happening on the Hypergrid. And one of those things is a party that's going to be happening over on Gypsy Camp, which is on Pangea Grid. That's going to be starting around 11 o'clock Second Life time. and it's the Gypsy Zambra. I wonder what Zambra is. Oh, hold on. I think it's something to do with soup. Anyway, it's a special performance tomorrow, November the 13th, and it's Putri Solo singing, and also the lovely Rogue Galaxy will also be singing. So that's something that definitely worth popping in to experience. Bring your gypsy gear with you. I don't know, Mal and James, if you have a gypsy mustache hidden somewhere in your inventory,
somewhere, right?
Bound to have.
Maybe I've
happened.
got a
Here's
skirt.
another.
Maybe I've got a skirt that I can twirl around in doing a gypsy
You
dance.
could do that.
Yeah.
Why not? Sounds good.
I have a
gypsies are
gypsy avatar I can loan you.
Yeah, gypsies have kilts even. I don't know. Yeah, anyway,
Right.
who knows? Who knows? Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Speaking of mustaches, yes, Freddie Mercury of Queen. This is over on Australia, which is an Italian grid. This is on Wednesday, same time. No, not the same time exactly, but halfway through what will be our safari. This is going to be happening, which is 1 p.m. Second Lifetime, which is 10 o'clock in Italy. They're having a Freddie Mercury retrospective, so that'll be some fun dancing and some great music, of course. Another thing you might like to do is go and hear Zori Jupiter, who I think is a favorite of all of us.
Yeah.
Mal is a huge fan, I know. She performs, I think it's every other Thursday she does this, but it's this Thursday this week. So run over to AMB Grid, which has got a bunch of really spectacular dance and music venues, as we all know. But this is a speakeasy, sweetheart. So run over there. It's the speakeasy is actually on AMB events region. Sorry. So that's really easy to find. AMB events once you get over to alternate metaverse grid. And Zori does always a spectacular show. She does she does Bardo, she does loads of stuff.
I was just out for her contact actually. I recommended her to the guy doing the music for OCC, so I suggested he try and dig her up because she's pretty good.
She's very, very busy lady. If you've ever seen her calendar, she's singing, I think, like 5 times a week. So she's very much in demand. Here's another thing that's coming up. If you are an artist or a builder and you're interested in making something of a feminist bent, then this could be for you. They're doing another call for artists. They did this last year too. This is the Più donne meno zero violenza thing, which is about violence against women, that there shouldn't be any, obviously.
Yeah.
And the theme of this year's artists call is women's bodies, and there's a whole piece about that which is written on the Museo del Metaverso site. It's in Italian, but if you scroll down, it's incredibly long, but if you do scroll down, you'll find the same information in English, and it's talking about the philosophical impact of the gaze in women and human psychology. So kind of interesting stuff.
That's interesting. I was just thinking, I'm not quite sure about that title because it's almost
yes, I know it's very much
the opposite, isn't it? But
it's very much like that sexual harassment training course that we were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah,
still,
it's all in the wording. Anyway,
they got a healthier attitude in Italy, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, whether you're interested in making something or just seeing things, do run over to MDM, the region on Craft Grid, because of course the museum was dedicated about a month ago, and so it's all new. Loads of really interesting art. Some of it old stuff from Second Life, which would no longer exist if it wasn't for the museum. And some of it's new stuff by all kinds of people: Cherry Manga, Tina Bay. You can see some wonderful stuff by OpenSim artists, and also a bunch of stuff from artists who really reside only in Second Life normally. And the last thing is, and I put up France's wonderful poster this time because it's got the right date on it, and it's beautiful as well. So shout out to France. Yeah. And this is, of course, the Open Simulator Conference that's coming up on the 9th and 10th of this year, of December this year. Sorry. Yes.
You're right. It's this year.
I'm being vague. So presumably we don't have to actually fly through a nebula to get there. I'm pretty sure you can just teleport straight over to ccopensimulator.org 8002, and that
Yeah.
will bring you to the grid, and then you'll find the keynote regions, which of course will be coming up later on during our event today. So basically that's what we have going on this week. Of course, Christmas is coming, and so everybody's working hard to prepare all their Christmassy kind of hunts and parties and displays. So that brings us to the last thing, which is that if you do have a special event coming up, a project, a party, perhaps you have an art opening or you teach a class or anything else like that coming up on your grid, and you would like us to mention it on the show, do let us know, and we'll have it on Hypergrid Happenings.
Dang, 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 dang. Well, thank you, Thirza. You may not need to go through the nebula to get to the Open Soon conference, because all you really need to do is TP. But there is no guarantee that the Firestorm viewer won't put you in a black hole with a progress bar. This can occasionally happen, but don't panic, as they say in the posters. It's only temporary. Right, so okay. I thought that was a joke, but nobody laughs, so never mind. Let's get on with it. Okay, so let's move on into the realm of the safari. As I say, since the beginning of September. Now, I've got masses of film. I always thought we'd do a weekly sort of hour, 2 hour show, you know, revisiting the safaris. So I've got a whole folder of safari retro, and more recently they've all been named and dated so I can find them easily. Not all of them, but most of them. But moreover, I've got hgsafari.blogspot.com, which is Thurza's blog here. Which she includes lots of snapshots in. So I thought one of the best ways of doing this while we're talking, rather than have full video, is run through the slideshows in order, that's more or less in order rather, that things happened, talk about them, and then if we're on a really interesting thing, I can then supplement that with a bit of video from the archive here. So I'll be sort of picking it up and slotting it in as we go, so to speak. And well, where to start? I said I'm going to just start on the first blog of the safari season was called Safari in the Fall, and basically that was announcing that the safari is back. And Thurza just put these. You can see the images on the screen here. We always meet at the clubhouse. Oh, looking in for advert for us. We always meet at the clubhouse on OS Grid if it's running. That is. And the first thing I always do, for example, is click on that sign, which gives me a folder of landmarks, which is going to include the places we go on the tour that particular week. And these were just some preview shots those are put up. I remember sitting on that boat and being taken for a ride, literally. And lovely drama llama. Isn't that wonderful? A safari animal do not feed. Well, yeah. I'll have to be naughty and try feeding it. I don't quite know how, but anyway. Yeah. And yeah, another kind of long shot there. There's a character walking off into the distance there, to a bit to the left, which is me and my hat. And I believe it or not, I was wearing a mask. This is years after COVID, but since I couldn't get my lips to move, I thought, oh, I better keep my mask on. All has changed since then, but it's interesting to see. I'm already embarrassed to look at that old avatar, actually. It's only been a few weeks. Anyway, I'm moving on down now. I think this is, Thursday, September the 7th. We went to Weefolkenshire, which is on the Discovery Grid. And as I show the pictures here, I'm going to really hand over to Thurza to give us a sort of narrative. And if you, Nara, were on any of the particular ones, well, I know you were on some.
I was on that one. That one was fun.
Feel free to join in on this. So I'll stay a bit quieter and I'll click on the pictures, and over to you two.
Well, yes, this was a very special trip for me, because it was an opportunity for us to do a double header tour of Discovery Grid, and it was partly because Discovery Grid has the terms of service window that you have to click on. So
Oh
it
yeah.
worked out quite well for us to stay on the same grid, because people always complain about having to click on that window and
Open the web. Yeah.
feeling as if they're giving away some of desperately deep information from their computer or something to the website, as if the as if the grid doesn't have all your information already. So it was a good way to begin. And Shalhira's region here, this is a dinky region, although it doesn't really look like it when you're standing around. The only problem we had was that there was a great deal of lag, and so everybody was showing up as clouds for a very long time. But it was a lot of fun. I think everybody enjoyed it. Some people could see themselves as clouds, which is quite rare. But what an incredible build it is. There's a whole backstory to it, and I kind of think Nara loves that, with the storytelling element to a
Yeah.
build.
Yeah, it was, and I was impressed too that it was, even though it was built for dinky avatars, you could be an average size avatar and still sit on things and enjoy all the attractions.
She's a very clever builder, because that's not an easy balance to reach. And if you're building for yourself and you're dinky, there she is, Shalhira. To take into consideration the fact that bigger people will come, it's really cool. I loved it, and she was such a gracious hostess, and a bunch of her dinky friends were there too. So that was really nice. It's always nice when other people who have either from the same grid or share similar interests or friends come and they support the host. I always think that's such a lovely touch. And of course, we all had a lot of fun in the fun fair towards the end of the visit.
Yeah, the
Another very
carnival
neat
rides
piece.
were great.
Yes, very nice.
It's a shame here, actually. We're very unusual. See quite a lot of red ghosts on this visit, by the look of it, as well.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it happens
unfortunately
now and
we
again.
weren't able to get hold of the grid manager, and so he didn't really help us out too much with the issues of lag. Sometimes that happens, but we did what we could, and certainly wasn't anything that Shahira could have done to make things any different. She did a lot of work trying to close things down so that we would have the maximum we
Safari
could.
goers
But
are safari goers tend to be past masters of things like lag and crashes and everything. But once we had a motto: "We will crash your sim," didn't we, or something like that?
we certainly could. But I think it's better that we were invisible and the sim would you could see
Yeah.
the sim, rather than, as has happened other times, that we were all perfectly visible and you couldn't see the sim. That's not the way round you want it to be. You want the sim to be visible, even if the people aren't so visible. And here, I think isn't that Nebby? That's Nebby.
They're so cute, the little
They
avatars.
are, aren't they? Yeah,
Psychedelic
Dinkies.
T-shirt.
Nebby Newman there.
Ah. Now that reminds me of the Grateful Dead show last week. It definitely looks like something to wear on the Grateful Dead
She's
site.
super, a Nebby. She's the stalwart.
Yeah. And final one from this trip.
And there she is again. That's Shahira. This is all her work. So applause to her for really making us so welcome. It was lovely.
Right, now same week basically. And this is Panthalassa, which I guess is also Discovery Grid, isn't it, of course, as you were saying. Lost World.
Yes, and of course it's Kayaker, who's the script king of the scripts, and everything is scripted. I said to him, I hope that we'll be okay. He said, if I could, I would script every blade of grass. And then I looked out over those fields and I thought, wow, I'm glad he can't. So this is a thing that you could do pretty much any Saturday, which is go over to Discovery Grid and with him, and they hunt dinosaurs and they do outdoor sailing and horse riding and all kinds of stuff. So he has a bunch of
Surfing.
yeah, so many good things. And the dinosaurs are just brilliant. Just to look at. I'm not much of a hunter myself, but I really enjoyed looking at them. But again, here we did have a few missing clothes, so that involved a certain amount of strategic photo taking. But it's a beautiful region and so much to see. We just really only scratched the surface.
Yeah, those
Really is.
dinosaurs were rather formidable.
I just admired his socks. I think that's one of the few examples of yellow socks that I've seen in open sim. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, yellow socks. What about where was that? Here, no.
Oh, kayaker's wearing socks.
I can't tell. Oh, over there. Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, I'm
Fair enough.
easily
Yellow
mesmerized.
socks that have been noted. Okay, this chap can't be bothered with socks by the look of it. Why?
Yeah,
Put?
they're really fun to watch. It's and to play with too.
And all kitted out,
That's
safari
Sophie.
hats, binoculars, and everything else, and then
And some of that stuff is by
that part of his
Atloud,
staff, so to speak.
and also WG Starlino has made a safari outfit accessories that you can find at the safari market just to dress for the occasion if you're interested in looking for them. There's quite a few accessories we have over there now.
Those are scary things there, aren't they? Oh, finally down on the beach.
Yeah, this was my favorite part.
I think this is when I got caught in the tidal wave, and so thought it was something else. But yeah, we all got out on. This was away from the dinosaurs, wasn't it? We just went to the beach, and
Yeah.
um,
I
there's a
think we
sort of
did
tsunami.
surfboards or windsurfing or something.
Yeah,
And the sea kayaks. Mao was pretty wicked good with a sea kayak.
yeah. I got. I didn't know what was happening. I got in a thing and went paddling out into the ocean, not realizing that these giant waves interacted with you. It's a case
Well,
of
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of physics going on, and in fact, the sim held up really well considering how many there were of us. And
There I
there
am.
was
There I am.
the wave is
If you catch
invisible to
those
me.
waves just right, they will catch you and pick you up and take you all the way into the shore
Yeah.
on top of them. But it's really hard to catch one
So,
just right.
yeah, it's like going surfing for the first time. I imagine you don't surf, you sink.
Yeah.
But it says it's catching me going round in a loop there, of course.
No, because I think the wave was there. I just couldn't see it. So, there's just certain pieces were missing. Yes. So as we say, there's other things you can do. You can fly. There's some beautiful vintage airplanes to fly. There's all kinds of activities there. It's very much an outdoor activity. Isn't that Yara? I think it might be Yara. And then, of course, he said,
yeah.
you know what? We can also do one more thing, which is the Titanic,
Yeah.
which he does every year on the anniversary of the actual sinking of the Titanic. But he gave us a sort of an extra opportunity to experience this, which I thought was amazing. Did you get to go on the day, Nara? I think it was during
Yeah, I was on the boat when it sank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feeling.
I pity poor what's her name? Twisted. She does some other sort of rough and ready safari film, and the whole sinking operation things played out with her camera work, and she was complaining about this, that, and the other. And where's it? Eddie, I'm going underwater. What's happening here?
Oh, Jessica
So
Pitchell.
Yeah.
it's because she was on camera, of course, not really taking note of what was
There
meant
were
to.
lifeboats. Did you guys make it into a lifeboat?
I did, yeah.
I think I was in
I
camera
didn't get a
too.
life jacket though. There's so much there. You could go every year for like 5 or 6 years before you understand everything that's happening. Because you can be dancing.
I thought it was
you can
really impressive to be in there and see the way the floor was tipping. You kind of,
Exactly.
it puts you in the place of what it must felt like to be on that ship. And you're there dancing in the ballroom, and all of a sudden the floor starts really tipping, and
It's just
you realize things are going really bad. And how do you get up that slanted floor to get out of
Yeah.
that room?
It reminded
Yeah,
me of the
very
end of that
true.
movie. In fact, I think I watched the movie afterwards. The movie Titanic, where um, the two actor and actress, the focal people, the ship's going down and they're running towards the front. So they're the last people on the tip as it goes under. And I think I don't know where they found the nightbook or not, but it's a movie moment, that. But well, I've gone back to this picture because what was nice here is that you have this incredible sense of movement. Now, this isn't the multi-sim build that they in Second Life. They got one that takes up masses of sims, but the way you see the clouds behind and things, that's actually moving texture, and it makes you think you're moving. Whereas in fact,
Yeah.
the ship is not moving, except later on when it tilts and starts sinking. So there's a lot of like optical illusion going on there, which I thought was particularly fun too. And some photos here taken at night, of course, with a slight tilt. Wonder what that could
Yeah,
be.
it's very hard to. I must say, I wasn't entirely expecting us to
Oh,
get to
that's a
this,
good shot.
so so it's really quite hard to film it as it's happening, especially if you're
Yeah,
not expecting it. But I bet other people have made some great videos of it. I'd like to see some. Yeah, this is the ship going down,
I can't remember if I
and
actually
it
managed to
goes.
film any of this, but
It was tricky to get
uh,
the sh- the shots, but it seemed important to me to have it be dark because
yeah,
as just like Nara was saying, it puts you in the mood of what it must have felt like just to be in the middle of that situation as poor people.
And seeing the
But then I
rats
was,
swimming in the water, that was,
yeah, rats.
that right. I knew it was here somewhere. Yeah, just came back to the previous shot with the dinosaurs. We did actually manage to get a little bit of film here. I'm going to fast through it. We've got so much to get through now, but this is an example of the dinosaurs moving, basically, and they really were rather scary. I don't know, maybe just the contrast. I mean, I remember, you find two of them together and then they come up and they start to, I can't remember where they fought or whether they just looked like they're going to fight, but those teeth, baring.
do they eat
It
you?
looks like the alien because of that head that goes back. It's like the alien in the alien movies rather than a dino, but
I
yeah.
know somewhere we
That
went, like a
that is a
snake
good
swallowed
point.
somebody. Do the dinosaurs do
Yeah,
that?
I that is a good question. I don't know if it does have the health set. Probably does though. Knowing kayak, it's probably more complete. I really must go on a proper hunt one of these Saturdays because it must be a lot of fun
If you can get
just
eaten
running
by a
about shooting
dinosaur?
them. Yeah, why not? Try everything once.
So I'm thinking ahead there. Uh, I forgot what that's called. This is Artisan's Fjord. Yes, this was another bit of the same build. I'm trying to think, is this where we get to the beach? Or maybe. I think that's fast forwarding to find a beach. No, maybe the next clip was. No, this is the. Oh no, that's the next week. That one's coming up. So let me go back to our moving pictures here. Okay, so moving forward, this next one, September 14th, is called a Spirited Safari. And I've got some of the film of this coming up too, but we'll look at the picture post first, as it will. This is just lovely to look at, the light and the colour and stuff like that.
It is. The blue and the
This is
orange together. It's really pretty.
And this
and this
this
is
was
Nadia Ray.
interesting.
She this lady is relatively new to OpenSim. She's married to Max Hill of English
Oh
Factories
yes,
Grid.
yes.
She does a lot of DJing back in Second Life, so you don't always see her here in OpenSim. But obviously he has a grid, so she works with him on some regions that we have visited, like the Lady of Shalott one that we went to the
Uh,
previous season. But this one is all by her. It's basically a collection of her dreams, and so the scenes from her dreams. There's Max. Nadia was not able to join us, so Max took the role of host and it did a really brilliant job because he doesn't speak a lot of English, but he had prepared some notes. So that made it much easier for us to understand what was happening. And the first place was that you jumped into the well and you found yourself down in this set of underground passages, which of course I know Mal, he loves those tunnels and underground mass.
When I can build
Um,
them.
yeah, well, it's a joy to experience when they're done well. Like these are.
But
Even Max himself got lost at one point, so I really
yeah,
don't know the
so
way
we've
out.
had
I'm
quite a few
sorry.
cave adventures this season, I must admit, haven't we? Underground adventures. Uh, the whole
Another challenge to film because it's really hard to catch people in movement through the tunnels. But all these wonderful rooms, each one representing a different dream. I really enjoyed it. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. It
yeah,
was
and of course
wonderful.
here
Yeah.
it's the actual environment moving around us because we're just standing still
Mm.
and it's bit like the old snowfall, eh, Nara?
Yeah, I like um
Oh, okay.
visiting places where a lot of things are in motion. You know, a lot of times you go to a grid and it's just a pretty still life. But this was really everything was moving and lots of things happening and plenty to think about, you know.
That's true, and a little bit of audience participation. Of course, we already knew that James could walk on water, but I managed to get a photograph of that, so I was quite
I
pleased
Yeah,
t-
about that.
and
I'll
then
keep that.
Tosha rowing out to rescue him, no doubt.
Yep.
Lovely.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
audience interaction is so important. I do think that's I was thinking about Nara's wonderful presentation with Siobhan and Verena, and how it really draws you into the story when you see the snow element building up. You're watching everything around you, and then you realize you're in the story. I love
yeah,
that, and this is a kind of it tries to be similar because it's representing things, but then there's somewhere for you to sit or there's a certain point of view or a pose or something. So yeah, draws you into the whole story that's going on.
Right. The
when you were
more
talking about
immersive, the better.
this, when you were talking about this
Mm,
woman earlier, I thought you were
mm.
talking about the statue which we saw in the still, but that was quite a realistic looking sort of statue there. Um, I think the reef, the reeds or whatever, they're covering the wrong part, but never mind. Yeah, so we walked over all this to get to that. This is all the stuff you just seen the pictures of, that same area. And that's right, we went into there, and then that was what took us down below, wasn't it? If I got this. Oh, and this marks my new costume. Ah, first time with the new costume. That would have been what, September 13th. Okay.
So
Oh,
we're lucky that these
October 13th.
most of these builds are still they're they're visitable anytime, so that's good. Occasionally, the safari goes to a build that is either um, only open for a short while, or there's an article about a place that's no longer exists, sadly. But the idea is that even if you can't go there anymore, um, it forms a sort of archive of the regions that have existed.
Hmm.
I was thinking of the
Yes.
Serenity Grid that came offline, unfortunately, in August this year. And I was lucky enough to go over there many times and really be able to film and take pictures in depth of the various builds that there are over on that grid, or were hopefully one day it'll come back online. But if it doesn't, at least a trace remains of this wonderful build.
Yeah.
And the same with these. I mean, who knows how long they'll last? We can never tell. So it's a way to preserve the memory of
When I'm filming, I
some
often think
incredible
that, it's
creators.
sort of, you sort of look back and think, oh, well, it may be gone, but I'm sure I've got film of that somewhere,
Sure,
you know,
exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
archive. Uh, okay, I'm going to end the video bit here. I'll just, this was done next week. Exactly where this would have been. Well, let's go back to the blog.
You know what? That's Tropicana on OS Grid.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, Lorenzo's women. Okay, somebody. Ah, there's a few here that are out of order. That's because of. Hang on, I'm looking first. Oh, it's October too. Oh, right. Safari goes Tropicana, September 14th. This is the one. So,
There they are. That's Blanca Nieves. And of course, our very own Mike Townsend, who's been a Safari regular back in the day,
ah,
the first years of Safari. And even before that, I can remember running into Mike here and there on the Hypergrid. So great old friends. And Blanca's a new friend, but a really wonderful lady. She is very into the community. She's Spanish, and she has developed a huge Spanish and Portuguese and other languages a community who kind of live on the Tropicana regions, which is in OS Grid, but it's like a little world to themselves of events. They have a lot of parties, but she's just finished a school for models. That's what she set up. So they're learning how to dress your avatar, and they do a fashion show and everything. So there's a huge amount of interesting activities going on over there. And then here we are. I just saw Whirly having a beer.
yeah.
Man, you can't take him
Whirly.
anywhere, can you?
Nice,
Oh,
nice
yes.
costume. I was simply when you were wearing that top hat. Oh,
Oh, the
Murder.
And here, do
Jeeps.
you remember
That
this?
was fun. I
This
think
was
that
the
was
beginning
me
of
in the pink Jeep. I got stuck and all the passengers jumped out.
I always get stuck. I always get stuck in those things. I just haven't got time. I like the boats, sometimes whizzing around on the ocean. You can't get stuck as easily on the
I
ocean.
just was shaking my head. I said, a bunch of us and a bunch of physical vehicles. This is not going to end well.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I was waiting for the grid to go down and it never did. I was so impressed
really
that they
Somebody here is stuck. I
kept
can't think
alive
of
through
not
all
sure,
that.
not sure who that is getting
I'm
stuck.
not sure if that's it's either Ayla or Yara, and probably Ayla. Incredible 3 point turn there. It was a little bit more than 3 points to that
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah, I couldn't
But
get my car to move
okay.
either. It was, but I did get a motorcycle to go. That was fun.
Did you?
Yeah, that worked great.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So this is the airport. There's loads of stuff to do there. There's it's obviously the name tells you everything. It's a paradise, a tropical paradise. But there's towns, there's vehicles, there's dance halls, there's cozy romantic places, there's a zoo. There's many things to do over there. But after we had experienced the physical vehicles, the region stopped showing us a lot of the mesh. So many of the buildings have been seem to disappear, and
I
Yeah,
then our
remember
bodies
that.
disappeared also.
it's
So
really annoying when
yeah.
everything actually reses in fine and isn't laggy at all, and then half an hour later, actually nothing should have changed, but you've got tremendous lag and buildings
Well, it
disappearing.
was because we used the physical vehicles. That's was
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
problem.
bit of
The
an
sim
All
was
I
like,
could
oh my
see
god.
was everybody's hair floating. There were
Yeah,
no buildings, there were no people bodies, there was just hair floating around.
Tasha had no head, but she had a body for a long time. For me, yeah. So-
I always recognise
And
Tosha by her hair, so if her hair's rezzed, I know who it is.
Yeah, I remember her
yeah,
hair floating by down the street.
It's,
I was like,
yes, it's
there's Tasha.
very distinctive.
it's true.
Let's fast forward a bit here. I keep forgetting we're not stuck in one place here.
So
Yeah,
the idea is that this gives people whose first language is not English, who may be Spanish or Portuguese or other languages too. It gives them a point of reference because Tropicana, although they talk about rentals, in fact, no money changes hands. So you can get a nice little piece of free land, and there's a community. They have the dancing. So if you don't know a lot of English, you can immediately find people who do speak your language or who are better are prepared to take the time out to understand what you need in a different language to English, which is, not always the case. Some people are very shy because they're not sure. They have many questions, but they don't really know how to express it. So this is a super place for people who are just getting started out in OpenSim to come and get a lot of their answers to their questions, because of course Mike is very experienced in OpenSim, and Blanca's very welcoming. She's a lovely lady.
Right, this is the next week, so let me go back to our blog first. So let's get the dates right here. What is Safari in the Den? Is that the next week, or is it Happy Birthday Neverworld? No, Safari in the Den. This is the next week.
Yeah,
Genesis.
this is, of course, Lavia's place, Lavia Levine. And again, I bet Nara can relate to this. You could tell by the way Lavia had organized this event that she had come on a lot of safaris. And in the page where I have a page on the website where it talks about how to organize your safari. Is just say, please come on a few, because you'll learn how to, what to expect. And you could really tell the way Lavia had organized this event. The place is huge, but she had really timed everything, so it was a perfect visit.
Yeah,
Absolute
I
textbook.
agree. It was great.
I love this. I love this picture of James. I love the tag over the top, but I must say it's funny. Instead of James sitting for once, somebody's sitting on him.
Hey, if you get a free
the other
gift,
way
you
round,
have to
isn't
use
it?
it. That's right.
And thank you, James, for once, for standing still long enough for me to make a gift of it.
Usually
you run off.
She even got the safari lettering, for all these bits too.
Yes, she really,
yeah,
absolutely
definitely
outstanding.
custom built for us. Yeah.
One of the most interesting animal places I've ever seen in OpenSim, because there was so much information. I mean, it's fun as well, but there's actually real information. You learn something when you go there. I thought it's beautifully put together.
So this was endangered species, wasn't it? She was.
That's true. Yes, that's her thing. There she is, Lavia, right there. So a little bit of explanation and a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yes, we've got a few sort of explanatory or educational stops this year, but this was certainly.
It's not easy, is it? I mean, Nara, you could speak to that. He's whirly on his horse.
I know, and she had such a large landmass that she was working across. I mean, one of the ways that I do it when I'm hosting is I turn everything off but the region we're going to use. But she had a lot of ground to cover, and she still kept it all running well. I don't remember everything disappearing and such on this one, and we had a lot of people there.
Exactly, and it makes it so immersive when you come out and you see all this incredible landscape ahead of you. Even if you don't get to visit all of it, because obviously our time is limited, but you still have the impression of this huge African proportioned build. Fantastic. Yeah, I love the trees.
I love these trees too. Yeah, I mean, they've obviously been scaled up, so they look gigantic, but. The ones on the left aren't actually that spectacular, but these ones on the right here, with all the roots going down and everything like that, I mean, somebody's put a lot of work into that tree, to get it looking like that and so convincing, I think. Cool. Maybe it's just a great picture, but yeah, I definitely like that.
It's a photographer's paradise. And the black chap is actually Beth. Ghost Raven.
Ghost Raven. Yes.
Yeah.
Another dinky, sort of. Is that a dinky or a tiny, or I never know.
Dinky for the day. Dinky and a donkey.
Dinky and a donkey.
I think of it OpenSim as dinky and Second Life as tinies. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's a kind of particular kind of small person. That a dinky, it has to be a cat or something.
Yeah, no, dinky is definitely Second Life. So there are lots. There's a blog in OpenSim about dinkies, but there's about 20 blogs in Second Life about dinkies. It's quite a culture, more so than tinies, I think. So I think tinies
are tinies human-like creatures and dinkies animals?
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
More
I think James may have put his finger on it when he mentioned cats, because I think all the dinkies are rather feline looking as well.
Well, when the tinies perform at the Virtual World's Best Practices, they're often a variety of animals. So.
Oh, okay. So that's it. Right. And it was so easy to take pictures here, because the way she set things out was just so photogenic. I was really impressed even by this scene. It was so natural for the group to form here and then you've got the elephants in the background.
Yeah.
It's artistry. It really is.
Yeah, and learning
Yeah,
what
It
plants
feels
the
so
elephants.
real the way they're flapping their
Yeah,
ears
yeah,
and yeah.
and
the
things like the plants that the elephants eat. I mean, that was
Oh,
I
that's
love learning all
right.
those details.
Now
Yes,
this I got
exactly.
some film of, and this is another good one, especially
The lions.
if
Yeah.
your camera's more horizontal.
Yeah.
You really they're all animated separately, and you really feel like that it goes on long enough that you don't realise the loop. There's more of a loop in the picture here than there is in the animations of the animals.
Yeah,
And yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
was a
This is
really
just
pretty
seven
spot.
seconds.
the
Yeah, I
male
love it.
comes out onto the rocks and then goes back. He's lurking in the background now. But you stand there and you feel like you're watching them in a zoo. You don't know where they're going to move next. I mean, you do in the end, but not at first.
This was a safari trip that was planned a long time in advance, and we do this sometimes. This was about the glowworms, because believe it or not, even glowworms are at risk. Um, Lavia had told me about this build. I should think it probably was a good 6 months before we actually came to do the trip.
All
And
right.
so she had that date in her mind. So she was already building it, of course, but it kind of gave her a deadline, if you will, to work towards, and that seems to help a lot of people, because obviously in OpenSim everything is open ended. It's your land. You build whenever you feel like it. But knowing that somebody's coming to see it on a specific day, even if it's 6 months in the future, it sort of pushes you to make it complete in time. And then of course she
It
had to
does.
adapt. She had to adapt it just to fit the knowing that we only had about 50 minutes of usable time. So there's loads more that one could visit, but she had kind of narrowed it down to her main points that she wanted to make, and it was just perfect. And this was when we went to Kitely. That's everybody should recognize.
Yeah,
Kitely,
this
welcome.
there wasn't much to film here generally, was there? Because we were having a talk with Elan, of course, and those
And
are
our love goes out to Elan, who of course is living in Tel Aviv. And this is not a great time to be living in that part of the world right now. So best love to Elan and all his family, and I hope they stay safe. It's very dangerous times. But he gave us a wonderful visit, and told us about really the birth of Frightly, how he came up with it, and there he is, and how the idea began.
What is that right there?
That's
Was just
some
the
stuff from
grids?
the marketplace. No,
Oh,
it's a range of objects that you can buy in Kitely. So it's
oh,
like a
okay.
sort of a visual version of the marketplace.
yeah. I think there is some stuff there that is free, unlike the
Yeah,
marketplace, which is commerce. So yeah,
I think it's part of the welcome region, so it's the first
yeah,
place you
yeah, it
start
is.
in
That's right.
Kitely. So if you're a new avatar, you
Yes.
can get a bunch of good things.
This is one very acute thing about Kitely is because each what we would call region is actually considered by Kitely to be a virtual world on its own right. So you can't walk across regions or anything connected to each other like you can on some grids. You literally have to teleport to a region you know. But the server they run them on, they only power them up if somebody wants to go to that server. So if you're the first person trying to get into a region, then you land here where the saboteurs landed. Presumably it's very small, and you
Yeah,
get
I
this.
mean you're only there for like 20 seconds. It's not a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time to be
And
there.
anybody
Yeah.
following you a few minutes later will not get this because by then the region will have been booted up. It only happens for the first person, and when it's empty, it will stay up for I don't know about 20 minutes or something before it finally goes down again. So it's a workable system.
It makes the grids run better. I mean, it makes the regions that are up run smoother. There's not as much lag, and you can have a lot more people with grids on your server because they're not all running at the same time. So it's got its plus in that, but it is sad that you can't just hop from region to region like you do in other grids.
Yeah.
It saves electricity
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
It does.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's like going to a different country. They do things differently. So that's what they do in Kitely. It's like if you go to England, everybody drives on the left. It's
That's how
just
a
different.
lot of dream grids work. That they have their regions only turn on if somebody's trying to get there. So you usually have to teleport to somebody on dream grid, try 3 times, and the third time you'll make it because by then the region's coming up.
Oh, that's interesting. So here we have Perry Thor.
Yeah, this
And
is
he
next
is
week, 16th, I
speaking of
think.
dream grids, he is the key person of Bridgemere Grid, which is a group of people who I think it's like 70 of them. It's not a small dream grid. Dream grids have been sometimes characterized as, well, it's a mini grid. You can only have a few people. Not true at all, because dream grid really demonstrates you can have a healthy community of people on a dream grid, and it works perfectly well. So this is the
It's down to
region
where
of
it's down to where the servers are housed. I mean, it's a perfectly good system.
Yeah.
sure.
But, if
If it's
you're running
somebody's
it,
laptop, yeah.
yeah, I used to run one, a 5x5, so 25 equivalent of 25 regions on my an old computer, and it worked fine until somebody visited. I could only ever have about 6 people in before the computer couldn't handle it anymore. But many
Well,
of the
but you see, we
the
were
dream,
20 there, and
yeah.
it was fine with 20 people. So it's
Yeah, I
sort of
think he's running on a regular data center server.
Yeah, it's a hosted provider. He's running a dream
Yeah.
grid. The space is provided.
exactly. So, but that's the whole point, isn't it? Dream grid is not just mini grids where you have to work basically on your own. And there he is again,
Right.
Harry with his definitely got the hair there, part of the name.
Ironically, a bit of
And is
history.
that Nara I see in the background?
Is this
Yeah, that's my Ready Player Me avatar.
right. I thought it. I wasn't sure. I'll just say, oddly enough, Harry, I knew from when I first got space on OpenSim. I mean, Roddy from Great Canadian Grid had been watching this program or something else, and I was saying, "Oh God, let's find some space." And he immediately said, "Oh, I'll give you some regions." Initially for free, but then cheap, and until Canadian Grid went off. I think they're back again, but not in the way they were. But Harry was my neighbour on Great Canadian Grid, so I had about
Oh,
4 regions. And he deliberately put his 4 regions next to mine, so we had a bridge connecting the two. And he had a
cool.
little TV studio he never used, but it was opposite mine, So the idea there was a sort of seamless crossing between Great Canadian Grid and I think he called that Bridgemere or something too. Not as a grid, but as a region. But yeah, so I knew him from there, which is a small world, really. Some nice water here. And
Yes, this was really an audience with Harry. So safari visits kind of break down into two kinds. One is we visit a person. So, for example, we went to see Elan, and it was a conversation with him. We went to see Harry. Once again, it's really more thinking about it in terms of the conversation with the individual. And of course, the other type of visit is where we're going to see a place, as in Lavia's lioness's den and so forth. So really, they kind of break down into two kinds. So when people ask about an archive of old safari visits, it's a little bit tricky because some of them it was just a visit with a person, and of course you can't reproduce that because it was just there for that one day. But of course, all the rest, yes, the landmarks are available, and you could go and visit all these places, go and see them for yourself, or return if you didn't quite see everything on the day and you want to see it again properly.
all right, next stop was 16th, I think. Here, this is
Oh,
Luna.
this was a gorgeous build.
Yes, it's Outlay Luna. Um, I think this is yeah. Oh no, it's got the Egypt stuff here as well. So yeah, there's a lot to see. I got a lot of film as well.
Yeah, so that's Luna Lunaria, and that we didn't actually get to see this. I took a picture of it earlier in the day. This is the spaceships on Luxor Sim, which is an Egyptian themed sim. It's kind of Egyptian in terms of Stargate, rather than Egyptology in the real world.
Like
So that makes it,
futuristic or
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
forgot what
borrowing from a lot of movies and yeah, beautiful.
she did have a wonderful description of sort of ancient Egypt meets something like that. I forgot what it was now, but she had a great way of summing it all up, really, mixing in the sci-fi side of it.
Yeah, once again, there's lots of teleports because it's a huge build. It's another one of who is
James,
this strange
James,
man?
what are you wearing? He's still got the other thing
It's
sitting
still
on
my
his head.
elephant.
Too.
That's right.
You got your
I
elephant on.
remember seeing him in that there. I said, wow, where did James get the hat?
Now you know.
It was. It
No,
was.
the
Yeah.
the headdress I made, I put that as a gift to anybody who came on safari could get that.
Ah,
Yep. Yep.
So just for a bit of fun,
Yep.
just to kind of try it, because it's useless. I say to everybody, let's dress appropriately for the occasion because nobody ever does. But
no.
a headdress anybody can put on a hat. So many people did, including Lifted Pixel, who I don't know if you can make it out in that shot, but she's actually wearing the
Yeah,
pharaonic
I
it
can
can.
see
Yeah, she
that.
is wearing the pharaoh. Yep.
headdress.
It's pictures like that. Actually is her avatar. That sort of abstract thing of rings, so with the arms and sort of legs. But
You have to really zoom in to make out
yeah.
how that
But
works.
it's funny. It's like sometimes when things aren't resing properly, I used to the other avatar I had before the current one. Used to arrive places and all you would see were the hat and glasses. And otherwise, I was the invisible man. And half an hour later, the mesh would finally come in. But it can look rather odd. So it's the same with that headsuit that Pixel's wearing. It's an odd mix, put it that way. But never mind. Right, this was nice. This is the sense of scale you get here is amazing, isn't it? I mean, that it looks like it's a stage of sorts. And
Right. Everything was so big. You felt like an ant
yeah,
in that context. That was really fun. And that water was amazing, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, she's the queen of the textures. Luna makes all her own textures. They're using GIMP, and you can really see the normal maps and the specular effects. So, we hear so much now about Second Life that now they're going to be introducing all the new textures and surfaces, that things are going to change very soon. Well, I think OpenSim will handle the change.
I
We
think
handled
so
the
I
too.
mean,
change
It
I
when
was
I
Mesh came
beautiful.
in. It
I
was no
see.
big deal. Mesh came in, when we handled that, and this will be the same.
I'm
Yeah.
tempted to sort of think that too. Although I gather at conference time there's going to be a bit of a debate, but no, I think so too. And I actually think that you talk to devs and things like that in OpenSim, and I don't really know how much in touch they are with some of the activities that have happened in OpenSim. I think on Safari, we see things like this. The devs would probably never bother to come and see what's in here, and
But there's also
they're
the
probably
workman factor, don't you think? Now, the workman. Have you ever had a workman come in? I'm sure this has happened to James and Nara too. They come in. It's a plumber or an electrician or
yeah,
somebody to fix the roof. Or they start, oh, this is a really difficult job.
oh
Oh, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Because of course they're going to say that because then they want to come across as Superman because they were able to fix it for you. So obviously you have to talk up the difficulties to make yourself
Yeah,
look good when you fix them.
I had one of those earlier in the week actually. This is I can't do this. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. And I left him to it, and sort of 10 minutes later he got off the phone and said, "Yeah, well, I've ordered one and I'll be back." you know, so
I mean,
I
just
thought
these textures
it's going to
alone that
yeah
she's done are just fantastic. Look at that. This is Luna Lunaria walking, and you can see her dress. She's got a
yeah
special setup to make metallic surfaces look extra shiny, and the difference between what's metallic and what isn't on her dress is just magnificent. And of course, this walkway, which looks like it has lots of layers, it doesn't. If you look inside it, it's actually just one texture.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like that at all. But just
It was things like
and
this.
of course, this builder wasn't finished when we went there, so there's even more to see now, I'm sure.
It's things like this dress that make me think of these PBS materials or whatever they're going to be. I mean, I've got a feeling that the stuff Second Life is introducing to this platform may well already have been done in OpenSim. It's just that the devs don't know about it, you know. So they're talking about it. But yeah, anyway, the scale of this thing is just gigantic. I'm flicking too quickly here because it just, you know, climbing up the stairs to infinity. The road to nowhere, or stairways to heaven, or something. But yeah, the texture and the colours and the yeah, just all the stuff on all the individual pillars here, there, and everywhere. It's all very. And there you can get the Stargate thing, of course.
There's another one where I thought it was amazing that we weren't all clouds. Because just that texture load. So she must have done her textures really well to look that good and not take us all down.
Well, and this is also on the wolf.
Yes.
This is the Wolf Territories grid, so I think that makes a big difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wolf he's got his
the back end stuff he talks about is
really strong.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, we're planning many more visits to Wolf Territories in the new year. I'm really looking forward to already scouting out some great destinations to go to. But I think everybody on Wolf Territories would agree that Luxor is the premier destination on that grid for now. It's just so beautiful. There's so much you can do and explore. And we only scrape the surface because it's much more happening.
Yep.
This actually is just this was up for quite a while. This was your blog about the closing of the auction thing in OS Grid. So
yes, that's an important thing that happens every year. Obviously, not everybody's a resident on OS Grid, but it is the testing grid for Open Simulators code. So they're the first ones to test out how it's working, how it's getting on. So it's an important grid for everybody, even if you don't actually inhabit OS Grid. It's run on donations only. There's no charge for anybody to attach a region to the grid. And so it's really nice that they have every year a way that you can give back by actually obtaining something tangible. All these items are put up for auction. They're made by people who live on all kinds of different grids, not just OS Grid. And you can purchase them. Every item is made purposely so that it's no copy, so that you've got something totally original, and you've got the only example of it, and you buy it for real money. You can pay in lindens. Actually, you go into Second Life and pay with lindens, or you can pay by all kinds of electronic transfers in OpenSim. And you come away with something original, and the grid gets the money that it needs to run the service. So it's a very important occasion. Organised, of course, by our lovely Caro Faber, who we went to visit last week.
Right, this is Felix at Pangaea. I can't believe we're just getting to the end of September. Better move.
Yes, this is just a small thing. For Alpha Hour had... She had a little party on Pangaea Grid for an installation that she and our friend Lumpy Tyler, artist, had put together. That's Alpha right there. And there's Nick dancing with Lumpy. And just a little party. So it's a very beautiful
That's so pretty.
Very pretty.
Yes.
Free life in the city, and it says James takes a seat at the arrival area on the central city.
Where would he not take a seat?
Oh yes, there he is. Oh, that was the headline, and you could almost miss him. Yeah. So
yes, this is Victor D'Angelo, who decided to show us his mall, which was very full of items. I think it's
very large.
Not all of them visible to the public.
Right.
I actually you know, I was here about 10 minutes, and then I jumped, you know, 50 minutes ahead to the next stop because nothing was going to happen to me. I thought,
It
well,
was very
I'll go
difficult to
ahead and
rest.
film somewhere else while I'm waiting, you know. But yeah, you've
But
captured
it's
it fairly
great
well.
because there's all kinds of free stuff there. So if it didn't work so much for the safari, but it's a fantastic destination. Definitely worth going back to check out the shops. And again, it's a dream grid situation. And there's a bunch of album sims also on the same grid. So loads more to explore. Hopefully we'll get to go again. Victor will have us. He has a really nice car region, which I think everybody would enjoy. So maybe we'll get to do that another time too.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time hopping around over there. It's an interesting grid.
So much lovely free stuff. Yeah, and he's such a
We,
sweetheart. He's a really nice man.
something else we did not so long ago is we held this four language event called the Hypergrid International Expo. That was our general placard. The reason I'm showing that now is because the next blog actually is where Willie Placebo came to the HIE. Now, this was actually a bona fide safari where we were looking at the HIE, Hypergrid International Expo grounds, so to speak, and the expo area. But Willie Placebo, the musician, also turned up and joined us. And where are we here? This is actually the HIE landing area as opposed to part of the Four Sim complex where the event took place. But this was where Willie did Willie perform here? No, he actually he performed on
I
the land.
think he did. I
Yeah,
remember music.
He was by the
right.
booths,
Yeah,
though.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he
I
was
thought
by
He
the
was
it,
just,
booths.
yeah.
This is just a welcome area. There we go.
yeah,
There he is.
yeah. Remember, this was a sort of preview of the HIE. He
Worley
landed
had an
early.
experience very much like Mal. He's redone his avatar because he kept landing he kept coming back in world on HD Safari Sim, and the sim would not let him remove that beer bottle that he had. It was giving him
Oh,
this
yeah.
terrible
Right.
reputation of drinking a lot of beer on safari. Oh,
Oh,
he's
isn't it funny?
thanks to the
It's so funny when you hear that avatars can get these reputations. Most people would think he was posing with a beer bottle, you know, as a laugh.
well, but after about a year, I mean, he's had that same costume on for like since two cornflakes weeks ago. So it was a
And
long
that
time.
bottle came from the bar at the Norwegian build that we toured.
Exactly. It was
Right. That was a
ages and
long
ages.
time ago.
Anyway, so he managed to fix that. So this has been a good year for change. And of
Now
course,
we
this
went.
was a great thing.
You
Talk
mentioned
about almost
earlier.
things must change.
You mentioned earlier in the program that we had Strawberry Fields, we had the Beatles, and then we had George Harrison's gardens here. This was forget the date now, but this is the next All Things Must Pass, which of course is one of George Harrison's album titles. And I've got some wonderful film of this. I think I've got an hour-long film I made in the process of everything. In fact, I think this is the one where I got here early because I left the other place that didn't rest properly. I can't remember, but I know I've got an awful lot of film. But this is a replica of the real life gardens of George Harrison's house on the outskirts of London. There's even a London bus there, so you know you're sort of in London. And well, it's wonderful. I'll flip through these pictures and. Maybe James. Were you on this one, Nara?
No, I don't think I was on the other Beatles one. I think I had to work the week that you guys went here.
Yeah, this absolutely was a superb visit. I mean, the detail, you know,
Yeah, it was
in
beautiful.
the gardens.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would say it's one of the top 10 builds in all of OpenSim, frankly.
yeah. This,
For the realism and the beauty and the serenity and
yeah,
just
this will
the
certainly be in
genius of the build.
my top 5 of the season.
I just love
It's
it.
interesting
He's captured the spirit.
when you lot arrived. I was sort of filming elsewhere, and you took a totally different route from me. But you know, we all obviously got to see everything. But yeah, again, they make for very picturesque landscape shots here too.
When it was first when Mud was still actually hadn't even finished building it yet, he took me around and showed it to me, but that has to be like a year ago. So he wasn't able to join us on the safari. So I was trying to remember the route that we taken. I think I pretty much failed, but there's plenty more. Again, it's another one of those builds that there's so much more to see, and definitely you can never get tired of it. It's just so beautiful, and if you change the environment settings, you can come up with some photos that just mind-blowing. It's a photographer's paradise. Once again, beautiful place. Again, very different to Luxor, which is equally photogenic, and even Linus Den, again, very photogenic, but just glorious, beautiful work. He's a very talented man. Of course, we know him from Pepperland, which we've all been to more than once.
Yeah.
The Yellow Submarine, and he's got a build of Van Gogh as well. Which is a sim right close by there. They're all on Littlefield Grid, where he's been a resident for at least 10 years. Been there a long time. So great man, love him.
Okay, I better switch back. Here, hadn't I? Right. I was trying to find the other film, but I had it before we came on air. I lost it of this particular region. It's obviously in a different folder. So, moving on to the next stop, we might as well get to all the stops before we run out of time. We're into October now. This is Neo Rome on October 12th. We went to. Ooh. Well, talk of interesting photos.
But again, this is a case in point because this is Whirly. And now this was for me, I don't know you guys, but this was a textbook tour as well.
Yeah.
They just had it down absolutely perfect. But Whirly couldn't see anything. This is a very big sim, and he had problems loading and resing. But what he did was he went back later on in the day, and that photo of him being eaten was one that he took hours after we'd had our visit. And, he was having fun by himself. Well, not entirely by himself, obviously.
I don't know whether I call that fun, especially the pose itself. It looks like that Chris
Somebody
was
there's having
going
fun.
for a very delicate area as his starter. Anyway.
So it's a sort of Rome, but just like Luxor is an Egypt based on a sort of Stargate version of Egypt. So this is a sort of a steampunky, cyberpunky version of Rome, and it's fantastic.
It's clear that they definitely use this for role playing. It's really completely designed to have adventures.
Yeah. And Nexus, which of course is something that Mal loves. That loves the tunnels, and here in Nexus's tunnel going with the shops. And there's another thing that very much what Nara was saying. It's so complete. A place like this, it's not just a facade. That you can go into the shops and you can get freebies. You're not just walking past this pretend window. And here we have this is Forest in one of the shops. That, of course, they add lag. We all understand that because all these textures are going to make a lot of lag. But it's kind of worth it because it's so much fun. And as you can see, everybody wears perfectly. Well, some people's clothes didn't, but we worked around that.
We won't go into that. Yes.
There's Star. I love her always with the wings. And the lady with the yellow outfit, that is Nexus, who built the place. So. And again, it was a walking tour, but it wasn't too much. We weren't rushed. There's Rofellos, dressed as a Roman. Perfect.
I'll take the toga man.
Outfit, man. That guy, he's so good at photos. We weren't rushed. It was just enough for us to experience the whole theme of the build. And there she was, Nexus. But you know that there was more to visit. It's always worth going back. There's lifted, cheating, jumping on my head.
Good shot.
Wow. I didn't see
it's
that.
A brilliant build. You should definitely go. Neverworld's got so many great builds.
I think
Great
that
place.
that form in the sky is actually quite high up. I think it's visible in this shot, but you wouldn't really know it was there if you were just panning in on the statue. In fact, I think there's an I don't know. I got the impression there was more continuation of the region here, but my memory's not what it should be. Okay, MDM rededicated. This is October 12th, so we're getting a bit more up to date.
So again, this is not the safari trip. This was just a rededication of the museum, the Museo del Metaverso, which belongs to Roxello
Right.
and Rosanna Galvani.
Yeah,
Many
of
of us know
course.
as Roxello
Yeah.
Gabenko. And so it was just a funny evening. And there's Corsaro Nero, who actually drew all those pictures. So somebody from the group getting a bit of well-deserved fame.
And this, I think, was also a non-safari visit, wasn't it? Art Azure,
Yeah.
Art of Azure.
Yes, I think that's just his forest gallery. Yes.
Yeah. But nice to look at. I mean, so I like the way
It's some
you
very pretty
include on
shots.
your blog these occasional posts, well, quite frequent
Well,
posts.
I know Nara writes, so she and takes photos, so she can sympathize with me. You want to show what's there, but at the same time, you don't want to show everything because you
Yeah,
want people to go visit for themselves.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
But
tricky.
I like the
Yeah,
way
you
you
don't want to
actually,
ruin the fun of it. Yeah.
I like the way
Yeah,
you're
and
showing clips of, on the blog though, you're actually showing places that Safari hasn't gotten to, at least not yet. So it's widen the blog to
well, there's just
take
so
you to
much to see. We only
places.
have 20
Exactly.
places in a season that we can
Yeah.
get to. So yeah, there's no way we can see everything. This is another example of a place that it's only open for a few
Temporary.
weeks. In fact, it's already closed. And this was Actifi, which was the hunt for Halloween by Ange Menges and Nanny Ferguson. And they're actually working on their Christmas hunt, which will hopefully
That
we
was
can do
so
a
much
special support.
fun.
Oh, this
Oh
is
my gosh, really hard though.
That was one of the
God.
most fun visits we had. You know, everybody was so absorbed, and I don't know what we were trying to find, but we kept finding clues, and I knew at the end of the clues somewhere we were supposed to acquire something. But it
I
was,
made I was
There were
filming.
20 prizes, but I went back 2 or 3 times and I still only got one.
No,
So
I
it
didn't
was just really hard.
I didn't even understand what to do
it was
because
mentally
No,
challenging. It
I
was
made
just so absorbing.
I landed
because
Siobhan
it's
was
so
with us.
pretty. Oh,
I
what did
landed
she think of
Yes,
it?
I landed
she was so good at it. I mean, oh, I got this one, I got that one. And Darina and I would just follow her around. When she said, oh, I found it, we would just teleport wherever she was and figure out what she did. And we didn't have to really think that hard. But that's what you have to do. You have to find somebody who's a good gamer and just follow them.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But that
Yeah.
was really challenging.
what actually happened is I missed the fact at the beginning I was meant to pick up and wear a HUD, so I went off filming, not realizing what to do.
Well, and the word puzzles were
This
Yeah,
so
the,
is
funny.
Kitely. This is
Yeah,
Kitely's
I
cave.
agree. They were fun, weren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, they were
But
great.
coming
Yeah,
up with
so
the right
moving on.
word,
Sorry, I
right?
This is
yes.
Kitely's caveman, and of course the Lascaux caves were part of this, which I have on film. But well, we'll go through this bit first.
So
This was an introduction, really. We were all sitting down listening while I was filming stuff, and then we moved to the caves afterwards.
yeah, so this is Cooper Swizzle. He's going to be on the show in a few weeks from now. He actually uses OpenSim to teach people in the real world. He runs courses for compliance in California. So people have to do a course, for example, understanding about sexual harassment and how to not do it, not how to do it, how to not do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And there was a
yeah, I
bit of
love it.
doubt about that now, group, of course. But he uses these Lascaux caves not to teach people about Lascaux, but to help people learn communication skills. And that's really what this is all about. So it's very interesting because you see some real world business and some real world caves, and it's also a fun place just to visit because it's got these beautiful pictures. and some great animesh made, of course, by Kim Starr, who you can see in this picture, wearing the white shoes. Him right there. And
That
this
was really
is,
interesting build.
yeah, I enjoyed it very much. He's a nice man. And this is Angelic and Rofellos, who spent the whole month of October wearing every day a different crazy Halloween outfit to do
Oh,
the
I
whole
wondered
photo
about
shoot.
that. Yes,
Mhm.
she was very noticeable, but not familiar. If you saw
They sometimes they were matching. I don't think they were always matching every day, but every single day they had a different crazy outfit to wear. And he put many of the photos on Facebook. It's fantastic. Yeah. Great.
Oops. Now, the first of the beta. Well, we saw George Harrison a minute ago, but this was our visit late October to Strawberry Fields. Strawberry Fields forever. Sorry.
Yes, this is built by John Winston Van Dyke, who's a German builder over on Dorena's World. And he's a big, huge fan of Beatles, who, of course, got their start where? In Germany, in Hamburg. That's where it all started for them. So this is just a beautiful build, and it's multi-layered. It's interesting for a whole bunch of reasons, because obviously there's a bunch of history, some really beautifully made buildings but he's also the use of space. I think James would agree with this. The way he's managed to use skyboxes to create, that it's only a regular sized region, and yet you feel like you're in all these different places. I thought that was brilliant. And of course, there's quite a lot of dark. Oh, look who's the barflies.
Yeah.
Nara.
We started Halloween early.
Yeah.
So the whole metaverse, I think, So, summer's over. We better start our Halloween drive.
And again, there's a bunch of shops here, so you can pick up some freebies. This is an interesting thing. The shot of previous to this, where you saw the Abbey Road building, there's actually nothing inside the building. But as you walk through the front door, you get teleported up to a skybox that shows you what the recording studios would have looked like at the time. So it's very clever the way it's put together.
And of course, the rooftop. They did the rooftop concert there, I think, for Get Back, which is.
And this building, yeah.
I love the little paparazzi crowd they have there in front.
Now, we're getting to the end of October, beginning of November. We're almost up to date, but of course, end of October, we have to think of Halloween. Despite the fact that some people like Nara celebrated early. This was Halloween treat.
This was 3 builds, one of which we actually got to go to. But if you didn't go to this one, this was by Mystic over on Escape to Reality, together with Hippie. They are just brilliant builders.
Oh yeah, that was really fantastic.
Beautiful people and beautiful builds. And so if you this is maybe a little fragile for a huge safari trip, but this one instead we did go to, because this post that we're looking at highlights 3 different places. This
is the one where I think Kelso got swallowed by a snake.
That's right.
That's right.
Kinky Haven.
Right.
Very robust grid, and we were able to bring the whole group over to see this. This is a 4-hander. 4 girls built this. Each one took a section, and this part is by Wendy. This part is by Lizzie Borden. And then you have the other 2 girls as well who built the rest. So just beautiful. And this is a different build. This is on the German grid by the Mayor group. But again, it's just so photogenic. I missed their party, but I heard wonderful things about it. People saying they didn't even listen to the music. They were so enchanted by all the scenery. It's just very...
Oh, look at that up in the sky. That is amazing.
The broomstick rider at the back here.
And of course, you could find obviously Halloween only lasts so long, but these are all great grids to visit. Sometimes it's not terribly easy for us to get a safari there, but the idea is that you go and visit anyway. You don't need to wait for it to be a safari. Just go anytime.
Right, next was, I don't know how you pronounce that, Anketi. Oh, hang on, did we oh, we looked at this already, didn't we? Sorry, these are some of the ones up top which are a bit out of order. Okay. More or less up to date here. This was 2 weeks ago, Lorenzo's Women.
I really loved this one. I learned so much
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I didn't know they had female authors that long ago.
Right.
Oh,
Me either.
yeah.
Well, this is the coming together of two talents, because on one hand you have Lorenza, who is she's a very gifted writer, and she's very interested in history. And the other one is Tonino Lane, and he sometimes, that was a picture of him we were just looking at. He sometimes gets overlooked, but everything you see here, basically, that is in the area of building, this is all him. And Tonino has been famous in the Italian building and artistic community from Second Life, from basically when Second Life began. And he has just made some incredible reconstructions. A lot of these buildings they're not necessarily all identical, but if you live in Italy, as I do, it looks identical. You would think that, yes, that's exactly what it looks like. So, and there's nobody messing about.
Yeah,
He's taking your slot there, James.
Yeah.
That should be you.
He's welcome to it. He's fun.
So again, it's a didactic build. The idea is that you can bring students in, even children, to come in, take a look, and there's way more information than anybody could absorb in just one visit. But yes, very interesting.
And again, kind of a hidden history. How do we have so many hidden histories in this world?
But the beauty is we have so many.
And a lot of them are female hidden histories.
Right, absolutely.
Well, that's what's so nice about virtual reenactments and archaeology,
exactly.
where you can put people into a historical perspective, whereas that is so different from what they read in history books. If you got the clearness as to what was going on and what life was like, then you can recreate it virtually, and then people are like, oh, women have
because this is our richness. This is our richness, that we are surrounded by people who are experts in things that we know nothing about.
Oh, so true.
Who have interests different to us. It may be something you're not interested in because you never even thought it might be interested in, or because you never had time. Either way, it doesn't matter. So in this case, Lorenza's always been a bit of a feminist. She's interested in female literature. A lot of these writers, obviously, there's a bias towards the Italian writers, but it's just so fascinating. And here you have everything at your fingertips to learn. We actually stopped there at that last picture. We're going to have be going back to see the other half of this build, because we only saw half of it. And we didn't see any of the futuristic part and the modern part. So that's for the new year.
Right, now this is getting fairly recent now. I remember, was it last week we even covered this actually? So the pictures anyway. This is a fascinating build again with under. This was the one where he's written quite a complex story, hasn't he? And
that's right, Sam Timeless.
There's a huge area buried inside the mountains, which is very hidden. You would never guess it was there. And there's about 4 secret entrances that you have to find to get to it. And then again, there's underwater here. There's a whole area there too. So a whole lot of stuff. Oh,
and they've developed a full story for it.
And there's Drama Llama again. I like Drama Llama. Right. This is, in fact, this is more. This, I think, is where we arrived, isn't it? And so it's not until you actually climb up the stairs to the cliff, the steps, I should say, really, that it actually opens up on top of the crater, as it were, and you realise where you are. Oh, that's a bit of a jump ahead to inside a cave. Oh, right. Okay. Well, when you get to the top. of the mountain near where we land. It's a sort of crater, and then if you look inside it, that's where you get to see. That's probably the first sort of view. Um, just
I
going
really
through
enjoyed Jessica's. I struggle a little bit to take photos here,
here we
but
are.
it's another reason why I love Jessica making a movie of our trip as we went around, because then I could, oh, that's what happens. Because sometimes you lose track if you're taking pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to the
Yeah,
rest of you.
yeah,
You
it
can't read
does.
So I
and
can say
walk
that
and
I can say that I take the movies too, but I've got a particular way of coming around doing it, so I don't really feel like I'm in the crowd while I'm filming. I sort of come down to earth and then hang out with the crowd, but it's like an interrupted thing, like you're saying with pictures. You can choose a few things, but when you watch somebody's movie or somebody else's narrative, it's like a different experience of the same thing. This is what was
yeah,
buried
and
in.
I really want to thank her for doing such a sterling job throughout this whole season. She's been, I think, every single week and made a movie so that people who can't come on the safari can enjoy, if they feel they wish to, enjoy the experience as a member of the group, because she has the note card there so that they can see the name of the place that we're visiting, and you can see
Yeah.
the chat as it's happening. It's really cool. I'd like to thank you very much, Jess.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate that too, because sometimes I just can't get away from work because this happens at work hours
Right.
some in my
Same.
time.
Same for me,
And
Nara.
then I can just go watch, and that's nice
Yep.
that she's done that.
Right. This is a repeat of what I started with these at the top, didn't I? Okay, let's just go right down. We're pretty much up to date now, but okay. More recently, last week, we haven't shown these yet. So this was our final safari, and let's see. Remembers at Georgetown. This was just another blog about the end of the Great War that you did, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
yes, that's by Tig Eberdeen, who's a really lovely lady who lives over on Neverworld Bridge. She's a veteran, and she always celebrates Remembrance Day or Armistice Day. She's Canadian, and so she's got this really very realistic Canadian region, which sort of commemorates all the different military bases that she's known throughout her career. Very
oh,
nice.
fly past. That's nice.
She's a sweetheart.
Canadian Red Arrows, no doubt. Okay, that was a short stop, of course, and yeah. So we had two rather strange things. I'm going to do them in reverse order because the second one from this week was another fascinating information thing. It was a scientific safari finale. I love that phrase, scientific finale. Um, Here we are. This is. Oh, my mind's gone blank.
Yep, Cara Fayray.
Yeah. Who we also had another film of earlier, but I think that might have been the previous season. We went to something else of hers. But yes, we first met and she introduced us to various stuff around there. So that's where we were sitting. I think this character had already disappeared into the sky with his camera. But he stayed put there while everybody else was getting on. Um, what was fascinating, this is, lots of things here about, the sun, about volcanoes, lots of science stuff. And not only were there really informative signage telling you about things, but also these wonderful virtual recreations of, my favorite one was, oh God, what do they call them? Plasma clouds and things that, in space and stuff. And the way, well, I'll just let somebody else talk. I'll just click through the pictures, but the demo stuff like this was pretty wonderful. Again, that you have to see that moving really to appreciate. It. This was the far view of it. Basically, it was just an island. I keep thinking I'm in camera mode. There's an island really in the middle of the ocean, and there's this huge crater, and the whole build there is based in the crater. So you've got this pyramid-like structure, and you've got a very small top floor, and underneath what you might call the ground floor here, there's another one which is fully inside the crater, which is even bigger, of course. So there's a hell of a lot to see there, I must admit.
Yeah, and you get to
Yes.
experience the science, not just look at explanations of it, but you
Yeah.
get to play in it. And it was really like a big scientific playground.
Yeah. Trees.
I just want to
Oh,
say, Caro has been a resident on OS Grid for a long time. She's actually one of the volunteer admins of the grid, the unpaid admins, and she organizes the auction every year. But all her regions, I believe, all of them are called Echo something or other. This one is called Echo Rock. So
that's
if you
right.
see
Yeah.
Echo, yeah, that's the name to look for if you want the Caro region. She's always been famous for her particles and beautiful particles shows. But this is also thanks to Jeff, who is her script meister. He's got the one who got that lift working so well. And I think also that crazy thing with the balls that looked like something from a ball
Oh,
pit.
those were so much fun.
I
Play
think that's
soccer
Jeff
with
Hall as
them.
well. What a great script that guy is.
Um, I got about a 30-second video clip somewhere where
I think this was
Tosha and I
Fusion.
were not dancing, but we were sort of stuck on the ball together, and it was weird, very weird. Uh, yeah. Yeah, some of the interactive stuff wasn't just pictures that you could, see to demonstrate, but you could actually step on them and do this.
You
The-
could be Archimedes.
I
How
mean,
do you
I
say his
get.
name?
Now I think of it, James, there must be an awful lot of citables here.
Yeah, there were, but I like Nara. I had to work, so I
It's
was
a
off
real way
training
to do
people
it.
on Salesforce that day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I
fun.
remember you came
Uh,
back in or something, and I was sort of saying something about we must give James a log, and you was
right.
already about back, and you said what log? But for those of you who don't know, Yuletide is the pagan festival that the who were Romans or so Christians or whatever hijacked for their what was actually an October event that they now call Christmas, um, and it was known as Yule. Basically, it's just a couple of days before what in the modern
It's
world
the
is called.
winter solstice, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they to celebrate with things called Yule logs. And there's a decorative one, which these days is the sort of thing you might put on the mantelpiece or something, like you put cards up or something. And it's just a log, but it's done in tarted up and it's decorative. But I think back in the day when people used to sit on logs, then your log was a specially made up log that they sat on too. Back when it was a bit more than just a decoration. So, yeah, pagan thing basically. How did I get onto that? So that was my. I meant to tell James that before we came on air. That's the explanation of the Yule log.
Okay.
I'll find one
So
for
this
you.
is interesting. With it teaches you something, but it also allows you to have fun, and this is really the
Ah,
beauty of this build.
yeah,
And
this is
the other nice thing to point out is that Kara was saying if anybody else has some kind of scientific build that explains something scientific that they really don't have a home for, maybe they have it on their region, but it's just one item. If they would like to add it to her gallery here, she's very happy to include it. So again, shows off the community spirit very much so, because it's wonderful if you just pop it in this place together with these other items, then a larger group of people are bound to see it. So I thought that was a fun idea. Oh, look at that! Who's that man?
one time I'm trying to find. Oh dear, let's end. We're getting on, so we'll end with the thing. I was just trying to find because I did have film of this too. Um, okay, I had a lovely short clip of me and Tosha on one of those balls, but oh, this this was funny, making jokes about bouncing. Who's that?
That Star and
Of course
Nara.
it's Star, right? Yeah, and then Nara's here somewhere too. Yeah.
There she goes.
So, not only is Nara our guest on the show this week, she's also demonstrating some nifty moves on our clips. Yeah. Yeah, I think this was our last stop, and I think member second Joyce that will be bouncing on into the new year, and the implication being I'll be keep bouncing there, me and Snowy. Oh, I'd also like to thank, given the opportunity here, Snowbody here was very partly responsible for helping me get the basics of this new avatar sorted. And later I customized it a bit and whatever. But yeah, it was long overdue, and if it hadn't been for Snowy, it wouldn't have happened. So thanks to Snowy, who is
Yeah.
probably watching. I gather he does a lot. And yes, there's the another outside view of the sort of ocean, the crater, and the thing. There is actually another island just off to the right, so you know it's not on its own in a vast ocean, but whatever. So before we went to that, our first stop was all about telling tales on Nara's Nook. Hello, Nara.
Hello.
There's not a huge amount to show here because we're just showing it now, but this is very much a cut down dress rehearsal for um, where you were basically, along with Chauvin and everybody else, were basically showing us the template for what you're going to be presenting at the Open Community Conference. And the first thing thought when I got here is, I know this place. Because obviously they've given you a copy of the entire conference grid auditorium for you to res, so presumably so you can measure up where all your
You
performance.
can get that whole thing that I had from Outworlds. I downloaded it from there. Fred has it up there available. And I was just trying to simulate that conference setup so that I could tell, and I invited Safari over so I could tell if what we were doing with all these NPCs would bring the conference down. Because
Yeah,
we kind of did that once with an NPC and we didn't want to do that again. So we like to test ahead of time, and you guys are such a great test. So
don't think
yeah,
there
it's the
don't
grid didn't crash and
No.
things kind of worked, and that is the best you could hope with. I have a server on a professional data center, but it's not a super server like they have at the conference. So I figured if you didn't take me down, I wouldn't take them down.
yeah. There will be quite a few more people at the conference, one knows, than just the
Yeah.
30 of us in Safari. But yeah,
So this is the
yeah,
sword fight, and I was really surprised to find out that there's such a thing as camera distance lag, because these guys look like they're moving in slow motion if you're far away, but if
yeah,
you zoom right in, you can see it real fast like this.
yeah. I did take some footage, but it wasn't the most exciting of
So
scene.
what this
Really,
story is it's based on that Yule thing that you were talking about, Mel, that
yeah, you're tired. Yeah,
when the winter comes, it's believed that the Oak King has come back from the dead or whatever. Everybody has a different version of this tale that they tell. But in the spring the Holly King takes over, and in the winter the Oak King takes over. And the light, when the Oak King comes in the winter, the light gets longer each day. And then they switch off in the summertime and the Holly King takes over and the days get
what?
shorter.
No spring in between.
Well, the spring is there. It's part of the time that the Oak King rules.
All right.
So, so he gets 2 seasons, and the Holly King gets the fall and the winter. And it's
All right.
supposed to be this battle that they enact over it. And
So
we wrote our story quite differently, but
I'm going to be bringing on the dark days of winter and the snow falling all around me, and then guiding you through
no,
the spring.
no, you're not. You're going to be the Oak King, so you're going to be the return of the light. So when
Oh,
you show
so
up on the Yule,
who's the winter one again?
the Oak King comes in the wintertime. He comes on the first day of winter. But the first day of winter is when the light starts to come back, right? The
Ah,
days start to get longer again.
yes,
And
indeed.
that's what you represent. So
Oh, I
you're going to
see.
be the return of the light.
So it's actually the solstice defined winter, right? Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I'm with you now. So yeah, so I'm the wonderful person for the new year. I thought I was a.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I thought I
You're
was
the
a.
baby nuclear.
I thought I was a regal tree for some reason.
What have you
Well,
unleashed, Nara? What can I
Yeah,
say? You've unleashed it.
we're playing around here, but I am actually performing the voice of the Oak King. So we haven't decided what voice I'm going to do it in yet. So I'm using this show as a template.
So, Nara, can you let us know when are you planning? When do you think you're going to be performing? Is that on a Saturday
we're
or a
on
Sunday?
that Sunday, the 10th,
Mm,
and
oh, great.
we're at
10 o'clock in the morning, I think. Yeah.
10:30 Eastern time, is it now? I mean
Oh,
Pacific time.
it's a good.
10:30
Okay.
Pacific.
No, I think the conference uses Pacific time. Uh,
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
10:30 Pacific time.
yeah,
10 or
Okay.
10:30.
So that's the evening here in Europe or early
yeah.
evening.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
you
that's
were
great.
actually almost at the very end of Sunday, and being
I
in
know, Mal would have been up at 2
Europe.
a.m.
Yeah, I was. I don't think I was up for
Yeah,
performing
that's
on
not very
stage at that
practical.
time.
Yeah.
But they
It would
So
very
have been a very
I
graciously
still
reworked
I have
that.
to do another panel after you anyway. So that's
it
okay.
would have been the snoring oak tree instead
I
of
used to have an
dialogue, it'd just
avatar.
be
I
snoring.
used to have an avatar in Second Life that was a tree. It's a tree avatar, and I had to do a show with that as that character once, a long time
Well,
ago.
you wear like an oak tree crown. It's got like branches coming out and oak leaves
Oh, but
and
yeah, but I'm
acorns.
only on voice, aren't I? I'm not going to be on stage
Right, right.
because
But the character you're voicing looks like that.
right,
Character you're voicing looks really good.
yeah. So basically, somebody else will puppeteer me on stage, and I just do the voice on the stream.
It's an NPC, so he just runs
Oh,
around
God,
and
okay,
does what he's scripted to do.
I get you.
He
So I have
was one of those two you saw sword fighting. That was the Holly King and the Oak King fighting.
right. Oh dear. Um,
Excellent. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep.
We've
Me
still got
too.
about a month to go before the OSCC happens.
We need all
But
of that time.
absolutely, yes.
yeah. Oh well, I'm looking at the time here. James has kind of refrained from giving us alarm. I guess this is a
So
rather special
far,
show.
right.
There was an awful lot of video and stuff I would like to have shown too. But actually, I think we worked better just running through the blog and the pictures there because it was sort of allowed us to move. You know, if I'd shown a film as something that took 5 minutes in pictures and would have taken 50 minutes in film, we'd have been lost in here all night. I am, however, just wondering, because it's relevant. We had George Harrison, we had Strawberry Fields, and then we had there was a clip I was about to show somewhere that. Where's the place with the nightclub? I couldn't remember what place it was we were at for that one. Do you know the one I mean? The
Mm, I'm not
Is
sure
that part of
now.
Strawberry Fields?
no,
Was
it was somewhere else, and I went to film quite a lot in advance. Um, let's see. Just see what else I've got here before we go, because we can. I will just see if I've got what I think so. Where the hell? Oh, I'm sure I had it there somewhere. Rooftop concert. Oh no, this is something completely different, right? Yeah, so I'm just thinking I've got enough Beatles stuff that I could show a epical sort of thing of all the Sims built around the Beatles at some point, actually, because there's also the Yellow Submarine build somewhere, isn't there? And
Right.
I think we could also do a special show on the Beatles in OpenSim. Wouldn't that be fun?
yeah, you should run. You should edit some of your videos together and put some more content onto your YouTube channel. It would be great. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested.
Yeah, of course. What I do is I film silently. So basically, I mean, I had actually hoped, but we just can't make time for it, I guess, to sort of run like a safari retrospective at regular intervals where we play the film and talk over it. Otherwise, it's a matter of digging down long copyright music and stuff to dub into the pictures I've already taken and stuff like that. And well, uh, yeah, I want to do it all, but there's never time to do everything, you know.
I hear
It's,
you.
a bit unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. I wish I could find the video that has been so big uh, during the week. Damn it! I was going to play it to go out with, but the new Beatles thing. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, I have a nasty feeling that that's copyrighted material, and
When
may
we were
not
talking
survive
earlier about the fact
on
that,
YouTube.
they've given it away, just about everybody who wanted to play it, they were giving it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
there's no restrictions on using it, which is probably why it's number one.
Well, if there are restrictions, YouTube will find it.
Oh,
that,
that's for
Yeah.
that's
sure.
true. But it's on.
I just want to thank everybody for supporting the safari. Just if I may, sometimes people, oh, thank you, Thirza. I really don't do anything except for find the places to go and speak to some fascinating people and kind of remind them that we're coming. The people who we visit do a huge amount of work and make the safari happen. Without their imagination, their creativity, their really keenness to make our experience pleasant, and their willingness to put up with the lag and the things that happen when safari comes. There would be no event, and also a big thanks also to all the people who come on safari, because I know it's time out of your day. For example, Nara and James here, you're at work when the safari happens, but it's a choice for everybody who comes, and I appreciate every single one
Oh.
who takes the time to do that. And thank you everybody who supports it, because it's a group effort, and it just shows what a lovely community we have here in Open Sim.
Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I'm afraid I disagree with you on one point, and that is you really underestimate your contributions. And
Really, it's so
the work you
important.
put into everything.
Yeah.
It is not as easy as you make it sound. You know?
No, it's I couldn't do it.
And negotiating all the personalities you have to negotiate and languages you have to negotiate and
Yeah. I mean,
grid
But
owners.
honestly, we're surrounded by so many really nice people. We're very lucky. People are lovely in Open Sim, and I just enjoy the community. And I think pretty much everybody who comes on Safari has found that welcoming, friendly, and hopefully drama-free atmosphere. We seem to have kept it going. In May 2024, that will be 10 years from the very first safari trip.
Wow.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
And yet, it's wonderful to look back and see how many friendships we've got that have endured all through those years. So I'm very happy to continue doing that.
Yeah, and of course, there's that big gap, when you weren't around for a while, but, there's resilience, where, it's come back with you, and, what we're doing together now, and everything, and just getting it wrapped up, but yeah, so many years there. I've recently been looking at some old clips and things like that, and, the first TV stuff I was doing. It was in Second Life, with Avatar stuff, and that was 20 years ago now. I mean, it was after the birth of Second Life, but it was long. And very interestingly, just anecdotally here, after last week, I did some. I went back to reread some of a blog I remember from many years ago called SL Art Parks. Does anybody remember that?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
Didn't they have a lot of machinima there or something?
It's a wonderful blog, but it reminds me of, the safari blogger these days, sort of, not safari. It's also, of course, for somebody very familiar. She's sitting right beside me. Predated the safari, but
I've got to
I
tell you
remember it.
that
I remember it at the time, and going back and looking at it was intriguing too. Just remembering things
I
like
have
it.
to tell you that that blog, and most people have gone from Second Life, it was an art blog, and
Yeah.
the amount of incredibly overbearing, self-aggrandizing artists that I had to put up with to write that, just absolutely despicable. Some of the people you meet. Oh my goodness! Could you have a? I'm a self-confessed genius, and you're trying to kind of tamp it down because it's just so exaggerated. I can't write that. It's going to pass for a complete idiot if I write that in this blog. And then you come to OpenSim and you see these incredibly talented people, and they're just so humble, and they don't. Oh no, it's nothing. And they're very shy, and they're just impressed that anybody wants to look at their work. And the transformation between it's just such a pleasure to write about people in OpenSim, I have to say, and so much talent. It's a joy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Did you ever meet Bettina Tizzy? She did
Yeah,
NPIRL over there too
that's
with
right.
Challenge. Her stuff was very good. So, um,
Yeah, she was good.
we have
That's
friends in
going
common.
way back.
Yeah, we have friends in common in real life, and I got a real shock. I got this message from her in her real life, guys, which nobody knew on Facebook. She had to introduce herself like, "This is Bettina here." And so, have you seen, a mutual friend so and so? So it was quite funny getting to know her that way. But yeah, that blog was also very good. Not possible in real life, and that can all these things can move over here. But as you said, the atmosphere here is so totally different. Not many people are role playing here. They just do it unless it's an artistic sort of thing. And people who can get lots of space to experiment and do their thing here without worrying about the cost, which they can't. Maybe those hidden things in Second Life probably make people more aggressive about marketing themselves or whatever because they know the cost of doing it there is higher. But as you say, then there's other people who are just quiet and shy and want to get on with it, that we got here. So, but 20 years down the line, it's amazing, And like you, my emphasis has always been on arts and wonderful destinations. So. Right, well, we're about to finish. If any of you have been wondering what the film showing behind us is, this is some sort of film I talk of. We saw the pictures already just now, but this is some film I talk about rehearsal of Nara's for the Open Sim Community Conference, which is in about 3-4 weeks' time, I'm pretty sure. So not long to go. So with that, I think anything else from you folks that you want to get in while we're on air? Anything from you, James? Questions
Nope.
for Nara? Anything?
No, I'm good.
No. Thirza, anything we haven't covered yet today?
Oh boy.
we
Yeah.
covered
Just looking
everything.
forward to the OS 60.
Indeed. All right. And Nara, we've anything you'd like to say? Because obviously we've been talking with you in conversation about all the safaris and stuff, but anything personally that you've
I just want to thank you all for all the stuff that you put together every week, and I just love going back through the Inworld reviews. When I don't even have streaming on my TV out here where the
Oh, yeah.
sticks. So I just watch Inworld reviews when I want to watch a little TV. And
When you want to laugh.
We look good on the big screen, actually. It always surprises me how it looks a bit cartoony but it's not like watching a cartoon where it's vector line,
yeah,
color added. It works.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
So especially if we've got
Thanks, Nara.
Right. So yes, wonderful to hear that you do that. I wonder how many other people do. Right. Well, thanks for being here. We are about to depart because we've had a much longer show than normal, but at least we covered literally the whole season of Safari.
You've got 30 seconds to 2 hours, Mal.
Well, yeah. Right. Well, if I talk for a few more minutes, it means I'll be 2 hours and 70 seconds, doesn't it?
That's
Right.
right.
Okay. We are out of here, but we will be returning next week, and the week after. We've got them fully booked, as it were. So, thank you to James for the technical wizardry. Thank you,
Yep.
James.
Yeah. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you to my wonderful co-host Thirza for being Thirza.
Thanks, Mel.
And thanks to our guest Nara Nook for being Nara, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you, Mel.
And there's a bloke sitting here in the middle, but nobody says goodbye to him. Right. We will return. Same time, same place next week. In the meantime, I'm going to wish you all a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, and indeed a good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And for now, we're out of here.